Welcome back to Fantasy Dad Duo, where despite what my daughter may tell you, Daddy does not have a poo-poo on his head. I'm Jack Banks. This is my co-host, Jeff. Jeff, how you doing tonight?
What's going on, guys? Daddy does not have a poo-poo on his head. I never know what's coming. I never know how far it's gonna go. I never know what you're gonna say. But it's always something that gets the people going. It's so funny.
My daughter
Um,
has this weird obsession lately with like bedtime stories. So I tell her these stories, the Bella Bunny stories that have like some sort of like message mixed in, right? Like eat your
mhm.
vegetables, go to sleep on time, stuff like that. Lately, she goes, I want a story with Bella Bunny with a poop on her head and down her face into her eyes. I'm like, Callie, I'm not telling you a story with Bella Bunny with poop in her eyes.
That's descriptive. That's very descriptive. Oh my God, that's good. Yeah. So last night we took Cassidy to her first yard goats game.
Hell yeah.
And we were in one of the box suites, I guess, up top. It was nice. It was fun. We had a great time. She got to meet one of. I didn't realize this. There are like 2 or 3 different yard goats. She got to meet
Hmm.
one of them, and she took a picture with them, and it was pretty enjoyable. She didn't cry. It was great. She was very smiley. She made us pay today. Uh, but I mean, you pay to play, so we're all good. It's As long as she had a good time last night, I'm happy. It's not nothing we can't handle. So
Hartford Yard Goats, #1 minor league stadium in the country. I think 6 or 7 years in a row.
damn, I wish their team was #1 minor league team in the country. They suck.
Well, they got Charlie Condon up right now, I think.
They had a guy. They were playing against 2 guys on the Somerset Patriots last night, which is a Yankees affiliate. One of them is like freaking Kenny Lofton on the bases. The other one was like Bernie Williams behind the plate. So it was pretty. I was like,
So
damn.
you got wrecked, is what you're telling me.
Oh, they lost 10-4. They got wrecked.
Yeesh. All right, well, let's get into the episode. We're going to be talking about some important draft day questions. Jeff, it seems like you have some specific ones of these.
There's a couple. There's a couple. I could pop them off whenever you want to. So you let me know.
Yeah, let's start with those questions. We might get into some preseason hype train news and some of the scariest teams, but let's jump into the questions. And Jeff, I have some written down, but why don't you just lead it off?
All right. So this week, 2 things happened. Well, I don't even know if it was this week. It might have been last week. We all know that the center on the Chargers got hurt.
Beatish.
So correct. Yes, I wasn't going to try and butcher his name because he's a great player. I didn't want to do that to him.
Beatish, maybe.
So that takes Hampton's stock, Omarion Hampton, somebody that you're very big on. That takes Hampton's stock and makes it go down, but does it make it go down enough to become disinterested in him in the first 2 rounds, second round of a fantasy draft?
Here's what I'll say about losing Tyler Beatish. Losing an all-world center will take away from that interior push. And it leads to more some more passing touchdowns rather than running back dives up the middle. It leads to some like speedy outside runs, which may benefit a guy like Keaton Mitchell. So it does hit Omarion a little bit. What I'll say it does more than impact him directly is it impacts the team, right? We saw the Chargers go from one of the best offenses in the league last year to one of the worst in the league. And that was when they lost Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt, 2 of the best tackles in the league. So offensive line is one of those like sneaky like injuries. Like sometimes you don't even notice that they happen. And then you're like, why does this team suck? Why is the quarterback getting sacked twice as much? Oh, they lost their starting left tackle. So yeah, I'm decreasing him a little bit, but I'm also decreasing Herbert a little bit. I'm decreasing Quentin Johnston a little bit and Trey Harris a little bit. Lad McConkey may actually benefit because, Herbert might have to get rid of the ball quicker and he's the short area target. So that's kind of my takeaway. Am I really knocking him out of the second round? No. You know I'm big on Omarion, but maybe I'm dropping him, 1 or 2 spots.
Now that being said, another guy got hurt. Emeka Egbuka got hurt. He's got a strained toe, and they're saying that could bounce him. That could possibly bounce him week 1. And Bowles said he didn't know if it was going to make it go any further than that, but he's day to day, week to week, according to what his head coach is saying. So, what would be your take on whether or not you would go Hampton closer to where his original draft spot was, or Egbuka closer to where his original draft spot was?
So you were texting me about this earlier today, and I looked into the injury a little bit. I don't think I'm moving Egbuka down at all.
There's not much about it right now. They're not really saying much about it.
Yeah, the injuries that I worry about are soft tissue injuries, because like hamstrings could pop back up, like, calf, groin, things like that could pop back up, but you don't really see sprains pop back up. So the re-injury risk is super low.
Mm-hmm.
And if Egbuka is a guy that I believe in, which he's not really, he's not one of my guys. But, I like him, but I like him at cost. I'm not going to reach on him.
My guy.
He's your guy. But that wouldn't decrease where I draft him. Losing 1 week out of 16. For example, Zay Flowers is one of my guys. If he had this same injury, I'm still drafting him late 3rd round.
All right, that was my 2 questions.
All right, so some more questions that I just have listed here are and we'll go to you first for this. Your take. What do you do with 2 first-round picks? But we'll make it a little more broad, because not every league is trading picks like ours. What do you do with 2 high picks? Let's say you have the 10th pick in a 12-man league, and basically, you have 2 first-round talents falling to you. Like, how do you approach that, and how do you split it up in terms of position? And so
all right, so just for starters, I would like to place that our league is an 8-man league, so the way that we look at it is a lot. I mean, it's completely different. And as far as our league goes, I'm probably the last guy that most people would want to ask about this question to, seeing as that my track record here does not end up tracking to wins.
I noticed this, Jeff. Let me just interrupt you real quick. You are actually a gold Yahoo fantasy football status.
That's correct.
So you actually do well outside of our league.
I do.
And our league, like you said, is you can't really judge off of it, because it's 2 QB, it's 8-man, 4 wide receivers, 7 IDPs. It's a wild league. So
our league is a fucking nut show, and every single one of us that's in it is a nut case. So it makes sense as to why it works very well. It works very, very well. So 2 high picks that are basically first-round talents. It depends on how you're trying to draft. Now, me talking in this, I guess, idea, I'm a running back guy. So if the league is a keeper league, like right now, our league right now, we have 2 keepers. We were able to keep our last round guy from last year, which, see, now I'll talk it like it's a 12-man league. I kept Luther Burden in the 26th, and I'm probably going to be keeping Emeka Egbuka in the 9th. Now, in a 12-man league, if you've got both of those guys that are both going to be starting wide receivers for you on your squad, whether it's if it's a 2, maybe not Burden as much, but you're still going to flex him. And if it's a 3, you're definitely going to put Burden in there with Egbuka, and then you're going to have 1 open slot. But anyways, so I'm taking those 2 high positions, those 2 high picks, and I'm going after running backs, bang, bang, as quick as possible, just to get my comfort level right up to where I need it to be, because it's for me, there's positions that I worry about earlier than others. A lot of people, for some reason, when people get worried, tend to go quarterbacks. I don't know why. It's just one guy. He's going to score you a lot of points if it's somebody. I mean, if you're looking at like the the Josh Allens, the Lamar Jacksons, I'm not going to say Drake May because I wouldn't even draft him, but those guys are going to go so early that I think people take them off the board thinking that they're going to be the guy that wins them the game, that wins them the week, that wins them the year, that puts them into the playoffs. And they very well could be, but you also need those position players. They're going to push you over and make you fucking like happy every single week with the consecutive 15 plus points, 10 plus points, 12 plus points, whatever it is to get your dick hard. To be honest with you, for me, thinking about it, if you like running backs, go to running backs. If you like wide receivers, go to wide receivers. I'll say in the first 20 picks, we'll say 24 because we're talking 12-man league. I'll say in the first 24 picks, which is those first 2 rounds, there's not really much that you can do wrong unless, and now I say unless because we see it happen every year, you're in a league with somebody that's out to fuck you, or you're in a league with people that like to lead you in the wrong direction to see exactly where that's going to take you. Now, if you're in a league with somebody that's coming after you to fuck you and they're going to take a Mecca Egbuka in the second round, which is what happened in my work draft, let them have a Mecca Egbuka in the second round. By all means, let them do what they're going to do. But don't let that fret on you because it's all a head game. And if you're a head case like I am when it comes to your draft, it's going to fuck you up big time. If you make your plan, like I said, if you're a wide receiver guy, stick to your wide receivers. If you're a running back guy, stick to your running backs. It's as far as like higher picks go, if you've got 2 that are within like 5 picks of each other, it's more of a comfort zone thing for me. It's what's going to make you feel more comfortable about leaving those 2 picks behind you.
Yeah, so I kind of approach it a little bit differently. When I have a draft where I know I'm going to have 2 good players, so let's say I have a late first round pick, I will, say I have the 10th pick. So I have the 10th pick, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. So I have 11th and 15th, or 10th and 15th rather. I will sit down and I will make a ranking of 15 players. And I will really sit down and think long and hard about that ranking. And when my pick is up, I will take the highest player on my ranking.
I don't think you're telling the truth.
No, I am.
I don't believe that though.
There's a little bit of caveat with Fiffle just because there's history to our league. So once in a while I'll push a guy up a couple spots. But in my big money league, for example, I have the 10th pick. I will be making a list that reaches into the second round, and I will not worry about position at all. I will take my top player, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, or running back and wide receiver. No matter how it falls, that's what I'll do. And it helps me just not get frazzled, because in the first 2 rounds, I'm not worried about roster construction yet. I'll worry about that in the 3rd and the 4th for sure. Like if I take two wide receivers, almost definitely my next 2 picks are going to be running backs, because I need to balance out that roster. And I built my team around wide receivers. So I don't worry about roster construction until after my top 2, maybe 3 picks if the value is too good.
That runs into the next 2 questions, which was more or less how to choose between 2 top tier first rounders, and 4, when do you have enough of each position. Literally going directly off of what you just said with your rankings, when you're going into your league every single year, your rankings are going to be a little bit different. Those top, like I'll keep it excuse me, I'll keep it as like, if it's a 12-man league, you can't say those top 24 guys are going to relatively be the same, because there's always going to be 1 guy or 2 guys or 3 guys, depending on how the year was before, that kind of bounces themselves up just a tad bit and gets their name in that top 24 list that you're going to have. You DraftKings, Fantasy Pros, it's going to be on both of those. They're both pretty damn good to use. Check them out. That was just an advertisement. We're not even.
We're affiliated in no way.
Yeah, free advertising for both of them because that's definitely who and I know you use them as well. So, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, trust your rankings. I mean, if you're going into the year and there's that like the injuries that I asked about with Omarion and Egbuka, don't let them fret you too much. Don't give that worry a little bit. Don't give that worry a little bit. Yeah, don't give that worry a little bit of room to sneak through. Jesus, my train of thought is right out the window right now. The rain is killing me. Don't give it a little bit of room to sneak through because if you do, it could ruin your entire draft. Trust me, coming from experience. If you let that worry take you over, it's going to make you make a decision that you are like in the heat of the moment. It's not going to be something that you're going to like afterwards. Sometimes it might be, but it's usually going to be something that you're like, fuck, why did I make that decision right then and there when I had a little bit more time to keep my rankings in front of me and figure it out through what's there? If your guys are going off the board left and right, left and right, left and right, and let's say you've got the 12th pick and you traded up to get the 4th pick in the second round. If you lose your top 7 guys, which is crazy, why the fuck are you putting those 7 guys up there anyways when you're in the 12th pick? But if you lose your top 7 guys and you're worried about it, take your fucking 8th and 9th guy right there. Bang, bang. 8th and 12th guy, whatever it may be, if you're worried about those 3 or 4 picks that are in between those 2 that you have. Just trust your gut. You made the rankings for a reason. It's there to help you. You're helping yourself. Don't destroy what you already built up.
Yeah, and trusting your ratings is kind of the theme to this show for me at least. So I'll just give a hypothetical, right? So say 12-man league, you have that last pick in the 12th round. You have Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb fall to you.
Last pick in the 12th or 12th in the first?
The 12-man league, last pick in the first round. So you have the 12 overall.
Okay.
So I stumbled over my words. So
you fucked me on that for a second.
So you pick in the first round and last pick in the first round, first pick in the second round, you take Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb. So you're feeling good. It comes way back around to you. Last pick in the third round, you hate the running backs there. Say there was a run on running back and the top available running back is Travis Etienne. Sorry, Travis Etienne Jr. I'm probably gonna not take a running back because am I really gonna reach more than like 10 plus 15 plus picks? Or because there was a running back, run on running backs, the best receiver on the board is Chris Olave or Nico Collins even. I'm taking the value, right? You know what I mean? I'm grabbing 100%. That Nico Collins, and then maybe I'll reach on that running back if I don't like the other value. But if there's that run on running backs, that means there's value there. So grab a Drake May, grab a Josh Allen, grab a Trey McBride. So you do kind of have to play it by ear, but don't reach just because you're panicking that running backs are going. Because guess what? If there's a run on running backs, those teams need wide receivers now. So you might be able to grab a little bit of value on running back later.
And for what it's worth, so, and this just goes off of how to fill your team out. And it's not even like it. I'm not telling you to listen to me. I'm not saying that I have the I shouldn't have done that. That's terrible for the podcast, Jeff. So I'm not saying that I have the recipe for like a dream team because by no means do I. I've only got one season with double-digit wins in this league, so by all means, I don't trust that fucking triple-headed monster. But so if I'm saying anything at all, when you're filling out your positions and you're trying to decide whether or not you've got enough of one or enough of the other, if you're going after one specific spot, do not think that 5th, 6th, and 7th and 8th rounds does not have value because they do. I don't know where we got off track. Now, again, we're our like I'll call it the torrential league that we have. The main league that we're both in with all of our buddies, 8-man league. For some reason, it's like we've gone down a path where people like to make it seem that there's no value after a certain round. It's false. You can still find value in the 15th, 16th. We have 26 rounds in this league. Because of we're basically filling out an entire goddamn team. But so 26 rounds, there's still value 16, 17, and 18. You're gonna find a random rookie. You could find a random rookie safety in the fucking 18th round that goes off and averages 10 points a game for the entire fucking season. You could find Buda Baker Jr. in the 18th round, and he would go off for the rest of the year. We as a collective need to stop making it seem like your first 3 picks are the only ones that actually matter, and everything after that is losing value as you go. I don't believe in that kind of shit, because there's guys, and now we argue this all the time in the NFL rookie draft. When you hit that 4th and 5th round, there's less value there for the players as to the height of what their talent is. We argue about it in more than one episode that we have, because I think it's absolute fucking bullshit. Cam Scadaboo came in the fucking 5th round to the Giants. In the 5th fucking round. He's a fucking animal. And he proved it last year. Then he got hurt, but animals get hurt sometimes. I just think this whole storyline, I guess, this whole story that people try to fucking pose to you and say there's no value here. There's no value there. Oh, that's a 10th round guy. There's less value with him. Don't even worry about it. I've got like fucking 5 10th round picks this year, and my dick's hard over it because I know there's still going to be value there, because every single year the guys in 6, 7, 8, and 9 will fall. It's just it's evident that it's going to happen every single season, and it's always going to be different guys, because no one drafts the same every round every year. So
I have a great example for you, Jeff. I have a great example for the 10th round specifically. In 2024, and I actually wrote this one down because I remember it very clearly. In 2024, I had 5 10th round picks. 10th round, similar to you. And in that 10th round, I was planning on I had a plan. I think my plan was to take all defense or something like that. But in this 10th round, the value that fell was so insane that it literally won me the league. So
Dude,
in this 10th round,
you're
I already
boosting me up right now.
hey, no, it's true. It's true. I already had 3 running backs. I had 4 wide receivers, and I had a tight end. So my flex was filled. My entire starting lineup was filled. T. Higgins and Zay Flowers fell to the 10th round this year. I drafted both of them to just sit on my bench. And then I drafted 2 rookie quarterbacks because I had waited on quarterback. I drafted Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams. And I actually drafted Javonte Williams too. He kind of sucked that year, so we won't talk about it. But I was just a year early.
The Broncos year?
Yeah. Those 4 guys, Jaden, Caleb, Zay, and T. Higgins, won me the league. They outperformed my early picks. I completely whiffed on Isaiah Pacheco. I drafted him in the 3rd round. That was the year he played 2 games and tore his ACL or Achilles or whatever it was. So you're right. You're right. Like if you wait and draft value with late round picks, you could win the league with the 10th round pick.
I got into this argument with somebody that I was trying to make a trade with. I was going after multiple 2nd round picks that they had. And again, the league that we're in, what do we have? 40 or 50 draft pick trades already?
I legitimately I lost track.
Dude,
I really did.
It's an absolute. I call it a shit show because of how much is actually happening, but it's not a shit show. It's going to make for a very interesting draft on Saturday, 2 days. It's going to be a fucking amazing draft, and I'm very excited. But I was in the middle of trying to make some more draft pick trades, because I
You can't
love
help yourself. You're an addict.
it's in my veins, and I can't get enough of it ever since we went on my bachelor weekend. It's been fucking amazing. And by fucking amazing, I mean the draft picks have just been every time I look at the draft board, I'm like, God damn, don't stop, guys. Let's go. And then they started leaking into the teens. And then, like, oh man, it's so fun watching that. But it was like a couple of weeks ago. It might have even been just around a month ago. I was trying to get a couple of second-round picks from a buddy of ours. And he literally had the fucking audacity to tell me, dude, the first pick in the 5th round doesn't have that much value. And my head almost fucking exploded. And I was like,
in our league,
once and you think you're the fucking man, you bitch.
In our league, first pick in the 5th round is like Lad McConkey. I mean, that's like could be a wide receiver 1.
Dude, I love you, bud, but you fucking know how to get under my skin, and you do it very well. That being said, all the draft pick trades that we have, and it makes it, and it's not just me, because I know I like to go off the fucking rails and do a lot of that stuff. Like you said, it's in my veins. I love it. It gets me going. It gets the league going. It makes everybody else think about what they want to do. It's awesome. It keeps things interesting. But it makes it very hard to feel like safe in you building up your positions, because you then have less picks in those first 10 rounds. You have less picks in the first 5 rounds, or whatever it may be. Like, I have 2 first-round picks. I have 6th and 7th pick in the first round this year, and then I don't have another pick until the 5th, which is 1st and the 5th. So if I didn't have those 2 keepers that I have, I'd be a little bit more worried than I actually am. But should I be worried? Hell yeah, I should be fucking worried. You know the talent that's going out in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round this year? It's going to be fucking nuts. But I'm not going to keep off of what my rankings are showing, and it's going to help me pull those positions that I need after I have those first 4 players, which would be the 2 keepers and the 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, you're going to have a solid base to build your team on. I mean, Egbuka, Burden, and then whoever you draft in the first round. Hopefully not
whoever I
Hampton,
draft. Whoever I draft in the first round.
Hopefully not Omarion, because I want him in the 2nd round. But if you take him, you take him. Let's move on to the next question. When is it too early, or when is it safe to take rookies in redraft?
I mean, I'm the fucking wrong guy to ask about that. And because
I'll give you my take first. My take first.
I'm too ballsy when it comes to that shit.
The thing with rookies is you need to kind of have balls of steel with rookies, because they will start slow. So you need to do 2 things. You need to have balls of steel, because you need to weather the storm, because they're gonna start slow. I mean,
especially if you're going first overall.
Especially if you're going first overall. So that's one. And number 2 is you need to account for that slow start. So you need to draft some safe players to survive it. There's some guys that you don't worry about, right? So it's like Zeke is a great example. Saquon's a great example. Even Gene T is a good example. He had a disappointing year, but you didn't expect him to start slow just because he's that kind of talent. But I typically will try to make rookies a bench pick unless they're a high first round, caliber talent like Zeke, like Saquon, like Gene T,
Fournette.
There's Fournette. Yeah, exactly. So there's good examples of that. But yeah, hey, bust my balls all you want. It worked for 6 weeks.
It did work. Hey, I took Barkley. Didn't I take Barkley first overall? I swear to God.
I'll check tape.
Fresh out of Penn State, I'm almost positive I snagged him in the first round overall. First pick overall. So
that was
17, 18. 16?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. All right.
I'll look.
As far as when it's safe to take rookies, you want to look at the caliber of the player, and you want to make sure that the caliber of the player is up to what the tier is that you think it is. So watch the tape. Don't watch not in pads, because Jack and I do that, and it doesn't always end up well because guys do fucking insane things when they're not in pads. Start watching when they actually put some pads on and they go to work, because if they're doing it in practice, they're probably going to get a solid chance to do it in the game. I'll say this year, Jeremiah Love, would I take him in the first round? Fuck yeah, just to start shit. Just to see what the fuck would happen. Just to see how the draft would go after that. Do you want to do that in general? No. But it's an 8-man league, and I would really love to see what the fuck happens, because I have 2 picks in a row in that first round. So why the fuck not? But if you're in that 10, 12-man, 14-man, or 16-man, we have another 16-man league that's fucking bonkers. But is that a pick that you want to make? Probably not, because he's probably still going to be there in the 3rd and 4th. But yeah, if the caliber of the player is up there with like a Fournette or a Barkley, or, I mean, would you even throw like Joe Burrow his rookie year in there? Would you maybe a Chase?
Yeah, I mean, Chase performed up to it, but I wouldn't have bet on it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have like assumed that a wide receiver would come in as hot as Chase did. Especially Chase had all those preseason issues, and that's why he dropped in the draft. By the way, 2018, you drafted Saquon 4th overall.
Ah, okay, 4th overall. Still pretty goddamn high for a rookie.
Pretty high, and he showed up. He returned on that value. You had 2 first-round picks that year too, Saquon and Zeke.
I think I traded Zeke away later on anyways. Two running backs. I told you. You stick with what you feel comfortable with.
On brand.
You stick with what you feel comfortable with. Now, all right, so 5th, 6th question. Next question is, do you take your guy or take the one who dropped? This is a very good question. 9 times out of 10, I'm taking my guy. Reason being, because again, it's a comfort level thing. Do you take your guy who you value because you know what he can do? You know the caliber that he's at. You know how your guys run. Most of the time, if he's your guy, you're going to aim to snag him if it's a keeper league. 12-man keeper league, if you're going to aim to snag somebody, it's usually going to be your guy as a keeper, because you're going to get the best value for what you want, and you get your guy in the long run. Now, let's say we're sitting in the 4th round, and I don't keep Igbuka, but Igbuka is on the board. But the guy who dropped is also on the board. Let's
call it AJ Brown.
Holy fuck, that's a far
let's call it Nico Collins. Nico Collins
okay,
could more reasonably drop.
So we'll say Igbuka's up 4th round. I have no picks in the 4th round, but let's say I've got the 7th pick in the 4th round. Igbuka is there, but Nico Collins has dropped a full fucking round, and he's at that spot as well. I'm probably going to end up snagging Nico Collins. Reason being, because he's that 2nd, 3rd round caliber player that's a wide receiver 1 who's going to get the full boat of targets every single game on the team that he's on. Because
let's put this one to test. How about like T. Higgins? Because I know you're not a big T. Higgins guy.
So as far as T. Higgins goes, if Joe Burrow was hurt, T. Higgins ain't shit.
True.
So you got to keep things like that in line as well. So let's say that Baker Mayfield gets hurt as well. Igbuka is still going to be one of the guys that's thrown to the most, because coming into the season, he's probably going to be the wide receiver 1.
Yep.
Unless Godwin ends up like becoming the god that Godwin was for those first 3 or 4 years of his career. Which I don't see happening, but no. He's going to be the wide receiver 1. I don't. Higgins is not. He's the wide receiver 2, and he's a pleasant wide receiver 2 that could be a wide receiver 1 anywhere else. He's just got that giant chase in front of him. I don't really like going after guys who become not completely non-existent, but non-existent to an extent when their QB1 on that team is out. I'd rather stick with where the good value would be and get my guy at the exact same time.
I like that the backup quarterback in Cincy is Joe Flacco. So that makes me like Jamar and T. Higgins a little bit more. But to answer the question, like, do you take your guy or the one who dropped? Again, it goes back to trusting your rankings, right? If your guy is higher than them in the rankings, you take your guy. If they're not, you don't. But one of the things that I will say is that the guy who dropped matters less and less as the draft goes on, right? Because like my rankings are not going to go like 200 deep with confidence. So in the 10th round, I might reach on my guy over the guy who dropped from like the 7th round, way more likely than in the 3rd round, me passing on the guy who dropped from the 2nd round. So the later the draft goes, the more I throw ADP out the window, the more I go for the guys I like. Because I think everybody in the whole industry kind of just cares less. So it's like rankings like from like 100 to 200 are almost interchangeable. Like the other day we were talking about Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt versus Nick Singleton. They're like 90 picks apart in ADP, and we were having a real conversation about it. So the later the draft, the less it matters. But early on, I'm probably taking the guy who dropped unless I really don't like him.
It's fair. That's fair.
All right, we're going to skip number 7 because I talked about that earlier. And this kind of goes hand in hand. Do you draft players you believe in or the player with the better ADP? It's almost the exact same thing. And the only caveat I'll say is if the player with the ADP, if you think you could trade him for like a lot of value, that's the only way I take him. But I'll take the guy I believe in. All right, Jeff, I'll kick this one to you. When is it worth reaching for your last like running back, wide receiver, tight end tier before it dries up?
Are we including flex in that?
No.
All right. So are we talking about our 4 wide receiver league, or are we talking about like your regular 2 to 3?
I'll pose it to you like this way. Do you do tier-based kind of rankings? So will you take like a section of players and kind of like stick them in the same area and look at them like all the same? Or do you really do like this guy is better than that guy sort of ranking?
I think when you're looking at like those, so let's talk like top tier players. So if I'm looking at like running backs, because that's what I like to talk about the most anyways. Let's talk about, so we'll say running backs, your top tier guys. You'll look at it like, I think it's Fantasy Pros that does this. I don't know if I almost said DraftKings. I don't know if Draft Sharks.
A lot of sites do tier based. Yeah.
Yes, and they'll bounce it off, and it'll literally say tier 1, these 7 guys, tier 2, these 7 guys, tier 3, these 7 guys. So if you look at it, out of those 7 guys that they have out there, you could probably say, you know what, I'll fix these a little bit, and I'll place this guy here, place that guy there. And what I normally do is I'll keep like those top 5. So it'll be like the tier 1 is that top 5. Tier 2 is this 5. Tier 3 is this 5. When you're trying to reach for your last position, and it doesn't even matter whether it's RB, wide receiver, or TE. Doesn't matter. If you're trying to reach for that last position, and I mean, if you want me to give it a round, so let's say running backs. If you have 2 running backs in your league and you need that one, why the hell you would wait until after the 3rd round to get your second running back? I don't know, because I personally wouldn't wait until after the 3rd round. That's the 3rd round, in case you wanted me to say it again. If you're looking for it, you want to do it once those, and I'll say once those top tier rookies are off the board, which this year, some of them might not even make it in those 26 rounds. So it's a little bit different. But last year, we'll use last year as a for instance, because last year's rookie fucking draft had a lot of top talent for running backs. Once those first like 2 or 3 rookie running backs off the board, you need to start thinking about whether or not you're going to snag your last running back, or whether or not you're going to be looking for somebody that you really want in flex, or you really want to stream, but you're going to have to fucking start him because you decided to wait since you wanted to fill out your wide receivers first and make sure you were solid there. If you feel a little uncomfortable with not having, and it doesn't even matter any 3 of those positions, if you're feeling uncomfortable about that last slot and you're like, fuck, Josh Downs just left and he's off the board and I need one more wide receiver for that spot, what am I going to do? Josh Downs is a guy that most people are looking at for flex. If you're worried about it and he's already off the board and everybody else in your league wants to use him for flex, you're late. You need to figure out what you're doing and make it happen as soon as possible.
All right, I'll give you a little hypothetical. Okay, let's say you're on the clock and you have about 10 picks until your next pick.
What round?
It's probably going to be like the 6th or 7th round. 6th round,
Okay.
we'll say.
Okay.
You have one wide receiver slot open and your flex is open. Okay? So you have to fill wide receiver and flex. You're choosing between Scat and Burden. Let's pretend that you would rather have Burden. Let's just pretend.
Mm-hmm.
All right? But Swift, Judkins, Dave Montgomery, Tootin, and Price are all on the board, and they're all in your Cam Scatterboo tier. But only Jameson Williams is in your Burden tier. Do you take Burden to fill out that wide receiver slot that you need, or do you take Scat to fill out that flex?
I would probably, because I end up falling into the weaker wide receiver range, and I'm not a wide receiver king like that fucker we call Alex. I would probably end up going Burden just to put him in that wide receiver spot, because that's one thing that, so being a guy that likes to pump up the fucking running backs, I get a little bit weaker when it comes to the wide receiver side of things, and I end up having to start trying to really pay attention to who's on the free agent board, and making sure that I fucking snag a guy that has a continuous range of 10 to 15 points every single week, just so that I can cover certain slots and positions. So I would probably go Burden, because knowing me, I'm probably not going to have the wide receivers that I need, and I'm probably going to end up letting people drop that shouldn't. So
I think that's like the right way to think about it, because in this hypothetical, there's 6 running backs that you like. So if you take Burden and you got 10 slots that to get back to you,
you said Swift, and my mind immediately went, oh, fuck, he's the best one on the board.
chances are one of those 6 is making it to you, right? It's not going to, I mean, they might not, but it's a way better chance than both of those wide receivers making it to you. So,
and if you end up, so let's say that I were to end up taking Scatterboo and putting him in the flex. Let's say that was the decision that I decided to make. I lose out on Williams and I lose out on Burden, and I don't get that 4th or 3rd spot. We'll call it the 3rd spot. That 3rd slot closed for the wide receivers. Then I would be in the position where I end up having to take a chance on somebody that I'm not exactly sure of what they're going to end up doing.
Yeah, in this hypothetical, you might end up with DK Metcalf in that last wide receiver spot, who's okay.
Yeah, not terrible.
But he, to me, is a clear tier below, Burden and Jameson Williams. So And one of the crazy things about this hypothetical is you'll be taking DK Metcalf above DeAndre Swift if you want to fill that last wide receiver spot. Or you could take DeAndre Swift, have him sit on your bench, and you'll end up with, let's say, Josh Downs, the guy you just talked about 5 seconds ago. So it's like you could keep kicking the can, you could keep filling those spots, or you could use this tier based drafting and hope a guy you like almost as much makes it back to you instead of taking the guy you really like.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. How much should your draft strategy change based on your league scoring settings?
Oh my God. How much should your draft strategy change based on your league scoring settings? Well, for what it's worth, I still wouldn't fucking take a kicker in the 9th round, no matter how many points the fucking kickers are getting. And we hate kickers. Let's just call it what it is. We hate kickers, so we wouldn't even be worried about that at all anyways. I'm in 3 leagues that don't even have kickers, so YOLO.
I think kickers are. I don't think I'm in a league with a kicker.
Yeah,
I think they're extinct.
I can't stand kickers. I'd rather be in a league that has a punter rather than a kicker, and that's fucking saying something. I mean, you can't. I wouldn't change much because let's say okay, so we have a half PPR league. Our main league is a half PPR league. And let's say that we're in a 12-man dynasty league that's a PPR league. I'm not really going to change much of what my draft is because if a guy is scoring a lot in the half PPR, he's going to score more in the PPR. So you're not really like, I wouldn't change it too much, but our half PPR is 2 quarterback, which changes things a little bit. And the PPR that we have for the dynasty is super flex. So it also changes things a little bit. That's when things kind of get topsy-turvy on who you're going to snag when because everybody is looking 2 quarterbacks. Unless your league has rules where you can't take your second quarterback until this. You can't take your third quarterback until this because we did end up having rules at one point. And now it's just a free-for-all and we're all a bunch of fucking animals. But yeah, unless it's that super flex or that 2 QB leagues, I think you would agree with me on that. I'm not really changing much of how I'm going to choose my strategy and how I'm going to build it.
I agree with you. For me, my convictions are my convictions. It's the players I believe in are who I believe in.
Yeah.
If it's standard versus PPR, I might move a couple players, a couple spots. Like I'll move, Let me find somebody. Where's Derrick Henry? I'll compare him to Ken Walker. I might move Derrick Henry down a spot or two. I might move Ken Walker up a spot or two because Ken Walker will get 50 catches. Derrick Henry will get 19. So that's 30 points. So that's still not enough for me to switch him, but you know what I mean. That's 30 points difference, PPR, non-PPR. So I'll change it a teensy bit, but not too much. And then 2 QB is where the big changes happen, but I still kind of approach it the same way. If I'm going to reach on a quarterback and 1 quarterback, I'm going to reach on a quarterback and 2 quarterback, or if I'm going to wait in the first one, I'll wait on the second one. The only difference will be how much I wait.
There's one person that I know that even if they were in a super flex or a 2 QB league, she's not, but there's one person I know, happens to be my wife. If she was in a 2 QB league and her guy was there, but she had a chance to snag like a Jaden Daniels over her guy in that 2 QB league and she didn't have a QB yet, she'd still go with her guy. And I fucking love her for it. I really do. Because that takes fucking cojones and holy shit. And she'll still end up in the playoffs. That's how fucking wild it gets with her. It's mind blowing. Last year was probably her worst year of fantasy, and it was because her team just could not stay healthy. But I will say, if she ever has a chance to be in a super flex or a 2 QB league, she is drafting exactly the same way that she drafts in the league that she's the commissioner of. It's fucking, and she'll probably still end up making the playoffs and not give a shit about it. It's fucking, it's amazing to watch. Watching her draft, I'm like,
Hey.
God damn. I wish I had that conviction.
If you make the playoffs, you're doing something right. So props to her.
100%. 100%. I agree.
All right, let's run through some preseason hype trains, and you just tell me if you believe in them or not, and why. All right, let's start with two Chiefs guys. Let's go Cyrus Allen and Emmett Johnson.
All right, well, Emmett Johnson, you already know we believe in him because Kenneth Walker, as he might be one of your boys, he likes to do the little hurdy-hurdy. He gets injured quite often, and even if it's, and I'll say, if you're in a dynasty league, Emmett Johnson should have been somebody that went. If you're in if you're in a 12-man league, you could use him as a stash for later on in the year. I think he's just the guy that is gonna. He's next in line after Walker. Let's be honest. He's gonna be the guy that snags the ball. He's proven himself in camp already. He looks good on tape in pads.
Not only on tape and pads, he's looked real good in the games. So I watched probably about 30 minutes of preseason football before we jumped on tonight. Emmett Johnson is a dog. So preseason, I don't put too much stock into. But
you really
the big thing I do put stock into is just how running backs look. Like, this is a big, like, I'm a football guy, eye test sort of thing. It's like you could tell when a running back has the juice, and he's got the juice.
He's got the juice.
So he might not take over Ken Walker this year. He might not overtake him next year. But when that guy is on the field, he is going to produce.
I'd give us 4 games this year. Split them up, put them together. It doesn't matter what it is. Give us 4 games this year where he's the starting running back on the Chiefs. And I guarantee there's going to be more than just a couple of people that are like, you guys have been talking about this guy from the beginning, and he's actually proving what you guys have been saying. So
there'll be teams calling to trade for him to be their starting running back.
I'm sure.
Any Cyrus Allen?
Cyrus Allen, I mean, Dynasty League, yes. I feel very, very good about him in a Dynasty League because put him on your taxi squad. He's going to be a guy that ends up, I mean, if you have a taxi squad, he's going to be a guy that ends up doing well in a year, maybe 2 years. If he comes out like Hollywood Brown, then by all fucking means, let him do it.
Yeah, for him, I just don't buy it.
Not even in a Dynasty League?
In a Dynasty League, fine, but he's rising up boards, and I just don't buy that he's ever really going to get the opportunity unless Rashee Rice goes to jail, and then he's a great pick. So maybe do draft him because Rashee Rice might be in jail again soon. Who the hell knows?
We don't know what Kelsey's doing either. What if Kelsey retires after this year?
I feel like they'll just reload in the draft. Like Cyrus Allen, I watched the tape. He doesn't look like anything special to me. And I know he's making good catches, and I know he's quick, but that quickness kind of gets squashed by zone defense. I'm not a Cyrus Allen guy. I'm still out. All right, Malachi Fields looking real good in games, looking real good in practice.
He looks good.
Talk to me about him.
I worry because Darnell Mooney, where he didn't really do much on the Falcons, there's games where he shows up. And if Darnell Mooney decides this season is going to be the season where he wants to show up and score 150 fantasy points, then I don't think Malachi Fields is going to be much of a thought by the time the Neighbors gets back. If Neighbors comes back, we still don't really know what's going on with him. I like him. I was very high on him in Dynasty League. Excuse me. I was very high on him in Dynasty Leagues. Do I think he's going to do something? Yeah. I just think what he does is going to be completely off of what happens with Darnell Mooney. It's a weird player to be focusing on when it comes to the Giants because it's his first year with them, and it's a new coaching staff and everything. I don't know. I feel like Darnell Mooney has been a safe zone before.
Malachi Fields feels to me like a good shot on a player, a good gamble, because he's basically free. He's wide receiver 89. He's really only got Malik Neighbors ahead of him. As a guy he can't beat out. He can't beat out Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is a superstar. But Malik Neighbors is coming off a major injury. So who knows how healthy he is? Who knows if he re-aggravates it? Who knows if he plays, 16, 17 games? Here are the other wide receivers on the Giants. Darnell Mooney, who's good, but I think he's 31 now. Darius Slayton, Calvin Austin, OBJ, Isaiah Hodgins. Any of these names striking fear into your heart?
I mean, no. Slayton is a deep threat. He's been good as a streamer before. And I mean, OBJ he's OBJ is OBJ. If you're gonna take a chance on somebody in those names that you just said, other than Darnell Mooney, it would probably be OBJ. But I mean,
here's the thing: if Malachi Fields comes in and he is the real deal, he's gonna blow those guys out of the water.
yeah,
I don't know if he is the real deal yet or not.
I agree with that. That's why the only reason that I said what I said about Darnell Mooney is because, like you're saying right now, we don't know whether or not he's actually the real deal. You can't take too much stock into the preseason. You like watching the tape, seeing what they're doing in pads as to out of pads. If he looks good on all of that, that's great. Let's see what he does when there's less cushion for the push in there and he's got to actually figure out how to play. Because right now you're not going up against all the starters, you're going up against a lot of the nobodies. So you're kind of hitting the point where it's like, all right, we're in a game, we're in front of fans, things are going well, I look good. But what's it going to be like when you're going up against the Ramseys rather than you know what I mean? Like it's
Ramses instead of King Tut. That's a Pharaoh joke. That's all right. Next on the list is Drew Allar. Is that how you say his name? Allar?
Allar. I've heard it pronounced both ways, to be honest with you.
He's balled out in preseason. He was kind of lauded as this guy who didn't really know how to read a defense, who really didn't know how to run an offense, but had all the physical tools. Well, he's looked really good.
If you're talking college fans as well, and I mean college fans in our country fucking love football. They bleed football. That's fucking they'll take you out for someone that's their fucking favorite player. They'll tack you right there. They don't care. Drew is one of those guys that they said last year was ready for the draft, decided to stay another year and got fucking hurt. Bad luck came his way. Shit fucking happens in the game of football. It's a very high contact sport. You got big ass dudes taking you down. So if you ask a college fan, they would say he was ready last year, but he decided to stay an extra year. Is he ready? We're going to find out. All three of their backup quarterbacks on the Steelers right now looked very fucking good that first game. He looked the best, but Rudolph and Howard both did very, very well.
And I will say that Rudolph got the first team snaps.
Yeah, it's true. He did.
So he's definitely the front runner for backup quarterback
for that QB2 position on the Steelers. Yep, I agree.
Let's talk a little Ty Simpson. So Ty Simpson balled out, looked great in his first preseason game.
He did.
I think he connected on like 85% of his passes. But is it Ty Simpson, or could anybody kind of ball out in that McVay offense in the preseason? If you stick like, I don't know, Brady Cook in there, would he have done the same thing?
I think you probably could have taken Vinny Testaverde in there, and you probably could have done the same thing.
Hey, Testaverde was a
He was a
decent
dog.
quarterback.
He was a dog. I fucking loved watching him. He's a Jets great.
Name the worst quarterback you've ever seen play football.
Live, in person.
No, period. Who's the worst you've ever seen? Dylan Gabriel.
Who was the back? Why do you do that to me? Why?
No, Max Brosmer. He's the worst I've ever seen.
Who was the backup for Schaub when the Texans first came into being?
TJ Yates.
Them, him.
All right, fair. So Ty Simpson, you believe what you saw, or is it system preseason?
I think the system is built for a quarterback that likes to throw the ball. So I think he fits that spec very, very well. I think we need a year or two until we're actually saying Ty Simpson is going to be drafted this year because put reason here. I think we need a season or two to figure it out. I don't know if Matt Stafford, the Go Dogs, has 2 seasons left in him. I don't know him personally. I'm not. I don't know if he does. He's my guy. I fucking hope he does. I'd give him 5 more years because he's the man. So that's just the way I feel about it. But as far as Ty Simpson goes, I think we need more time to see what he's actually capable of. Other than that, he does look very good. Carson Beck, fuck him, get him out of there. He's the next one on the list. He literally said he's aiming for that starting position this year. He thinks he should be in the talk for that QB1 on the Cardinals.
Would you be surprised?
I mean, we liked what Jacoby Brissett did last year. He's looking good in camp. He's looking healthy.
He did go 1-12 as a record last year, Jacoby Brissett. He put together an okay offense, but he didn't win really any games.
We're talking fantasy. We're not talking are the Cardinals going to win games, because I don't think the Cardinals are going to win games, but I think Brissett could be a very good streamer quarterback for a fantasy league.
If the Cardinals start like 0-7, which is probable because they stink, would it make sense for the Cardinals just to see what they got in Carson Beck?
I mean, I won't say no. Oh, excuse me.
Oh, it's getting late. It's getting late for Daddy Jeff over there.
I won't. I was up past my bedtime last night. That's why. I'm not gonna. You can't say no, because what if you put him in and then he ends up being a fucking dog? He was a dog and now he could be a dog again. Fuck him, anyways. You can't say no, because if you do say no and then he goes in and it's just. But
I saw a tweet that was like, Carson Beck really needs to be great. I don't know anything about him, but he looks so weird that he needs this.
Yeah, he had a Cavender twin and then he fucked that up. Anyways, I mean, let's put it this way. If you're on a dog shit team and the highest paid quarterback on that dog shit team can't put it together, of course you're going to fucking see what else you've got and see if it works. You have to. You have to figure it out, and you have to try and see if you can put something on that season to not be embarrassing to your fans and not be embarrassing to your owners. You've got to try and actually do something for the team. Fantasy-wise, I don't think Carson Beck is going to do much this year.
No.
If Brissett starts looking bad, there is a chance that he could be a streamer in a 2-quarterback or a super flex league. There's a chance. Yep. It's a very small chance, but there's still a chance.
For what it's worth, the Cardinals have the hardest strength of schedule this year. So it's not looking good. It's not looking good for them as a whole. They get the Seahawks defense twice, they get the 49ers defense twice, they get the Rams defense twice. They're fucked.
Yeah,
They're fucked. They're going to have a bad year. Let's talk real quick. Jacoby Lane. This guy is mossing everybody in practice. He is like a ball magnet. Do you believe that will translate against a first team defense?
He's good. He was good in college. He wasn't like one of those relative guys that you see and you're like, holy fuck, that guy is going to transfer to the NFL very well. His talent is going to transfer right over like it's nothing. He's going to have to work at it. He's going to have to put the fucking pedal to the metal and show what he's worth fast if he wants to be thought of as a fantasy asset. Now, as we'll talk specific to dynasty leagues right now, somebody should already fucking have him. Because if it's not this year, it's going to be one of the 2 years after that where he starts to take the fuck off. The only person in his way right now is Zay Flowers. And Mark Andrews if he fucking shows up this year. That's it.
I personally am drawn.
Derrick Henry isn't taking targets.
Yeah, that's a fact. I'm personally drawn to separators as wide receivers. If you look at all the players I like, JSN, Amon-Ra, Justin Jefferson, Zay Flowers, Lad McConkey, Devontae Adams, all these guys are separators. They're not contested catch guys. That's just what I like in fantasy because the contested catch guys just work out less often. You know what I mean? So it's you can't really point to these big body receivers that work out. Look, there's guys who work out, Mike Evans, George Pickens. It's it works for some guys. It just works for less of them.
No, it does.
So I try to stay away from him. His price is so low that if you're in a super deep league, go for it. Why not? But it's the same reason I'm kind of staying away from Marvin Harrison Jr. He's a contested catch guy. It hasn't worked out for him so far. Maybe it will this year, but I'm staying away. And the last guy we'll talk about is another contested catch guy on the Browns, no less, and that's Denzel Boston. How do you feel about Denzel Boston?
I feel better about him than I do about Jerry Jeudy. Me
too.
I think so. Speaking of the Browns, they're also not going to do much this year. I do think their offense got way fucking better with Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston coming in, putting them in there with Jeudy. Maybe he wakes up like he did 2 years ago, and then a Judkins. And I don't know if they've decided who their quarterback is yet, but we'll just use Shadur as the for instance right now. You've got Shadur with those guys on the board. Man, that's a pretty good offense. That could do some things. But two of those guys on there, Judkins proved himself last year. Jeudy proved himself 2 years ago. Last year he played like absolute dog shit. And Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston are the two guys that really need to prove themselves on that team. Sanders did that last year, so we're not really worried about him that much right now anyways. Casey Concepcion, I'll put as wide receiver 1. Jerry Jeudy and Denzel Boston, either one of them could be the wide receiver 2. So his targets per game is all dependent upon whether or not he snags that spot from Jerry.
You didn't even mention Fannin.
Well, I was getting to it. You just need to give me a second. Give me a fucking second. So Harold Fannin, one of my guys. If you're talking about target share total, he is going to suck up all those fucking targets. The reason why I didn't talk about him at the beginning is because we were talking wide receiver room. And I threw in running back room specifically because Shadur proved last year that when Judkins was healthy with him, he threw him the ball. Not a lot,
yep.
But enough.
Simpson too. Yeah.
But enough to put them in the target share with the wide receivers. You can't put him in the target share with Harold Fannin because he's going to get the bulk of those targets. And he's worth it because he proved it last year. He came here to play. Bowling Green's no joke with their tight ends, apparently. But I don't think Denzel's got anything over him. I don't think Jerry Jeudy's got anything over him. Casey Concepcion, maybe we'll see. He's looked pretty good. But as far as Denzel Boston goes, I think he could end up being the wide receiver 2 on the Browns, which means flex, maybe. Streaming flex, most likely.
I'm in the Casey Concepcion camp. I really like him as a player. I don't like the Browns, so it's like that, hurts my love for him. I accept that there's a world where Denzel Boston is the wide receiver 1 on that team. He's been showing up in camp. He's been showing up in preseason. There's a world where he leads that team in targets. What I think is the most likely scenario is for him to be 3rd on the team in targets. And 3rd on the team in targets for the Browns is not playable in fantasy.
No.
So, it's not the bet I'm making. I'll own a little Fannin. I'll probably own a little Concepcion because I just like him as a player. But it's a stay away from me.
I think so. Best case scenario would be flex or streaming flex. I don't see.
Best case scenario is flex. Best case scenario.
Best case scenario. Best case scenario. I agree.
All right, Jeffy boy, we'll wrap up there. Fantasy Dad Duo out.
Have a good night, guys.